I'm on my way to survey a prehistoric Bronze Age bowl barrow just downslope of Parbold Hill in Lancashire. It's called Boars Den. As you can see, I have all my surveying equipment on my person. Can you imagine me turning up at a dig and saying something like this to the site director? I've come to do your survey. Where's your tape measure, your measuring wheel, your plane table, your theodolite and levellers? And how are you going to record all your measurements and draw up your plans? Then, quite rightly, he or she asks, and where are your helpers? No need, I say. This little device will do all this for me, and I don't need any helpers. It's called a Mosier 2, which uses motion-driven technology that measures as it moves, and it operates via an app on my mobile phone. So let's put this little device to the test and survey the barrow. Unfortunately, the barrow has never been excavated. Still, it is a scheduled monument and listed as a Bronze Age bowl barrow, probably built around 2000 BC. There is an early note in AD 1899 by a Mr. William Pike, who measured its circumference at around 480 feet with a height of about 15 feet high. One of the great selling points of the Mosier 2 is that you do not have to be a professional surveyor or attend a civil engineering course just to learn how to use it. It is relatively easy to use, and one just needs to spend a bit of time using it and getting to learn its various functions, which are accessed via Bluetooth on your mobile phone. Basically, there are about 8 or 9 steps involved in the entire survey process using the Mosier app. So let me summarise these processes for you. Step 1 is the first screen you see when you turn on both the Mosier and the app. After pressing the plus sign, step 2 begins by asking you to select the measurement type. Generally, I use the closed shape option, which then opens up a number of other options. The straight line option in step 3 is useful for surveying linear prehistoric monuments, such as long barrows, Cotswold 7 tombs, and casus alignments. Here is an example of using the straight line option to survey Anglesey's Neolithic long cairn at Treignath. Step 4, I will use the circle pathway, which is useful for mapping circular structures such as stone circles, henges, and round barrows such as Boars Den. At step 5, having selected the circle option, I am now ready to begin surveying the barrow. For sure, the Mosier device guides me through the surveying process. Audible bleeps from my phone app tell me when to pause and place the Mosier on the ground. A good tip is to start measuring from a memorial point at the site so that I can return to once the survey is completed, especially when I intend to use both the layer and points options. Step 6 is reached when I am ready to export my data. Before that, I can consider as to how I want to express my measuring units. Just go to the settings button on the app and then select either the metric or imperial measurement option. Step 7 is when I'm ready to print off my survey plans. All I need to do here is to go to the file option, press save, and then export the data. I always prefer the PDF option and export any survey plans to my own email address. But where a photo image has been added to the survey plans, then the IMG option is the best solution. With step 9, the Mosier app survey cycle is completed once the chosen destination has been highlighted. Now I can use Mosier 2 to survey the barrow's circumference using a number of options, such as plotting circular lines or straight lines. In this demonstration, I shall use the circular line option, and to avoid any frustration for the viewers, I shall speed up the filming of the measuring process somewhat as I walk around the barrow. So Mosier UK provides a very convenient stick which will enable you to fit your mobile phone onto the end of, and then it's a little slot here to mount the Mosier into, which just goes in just like this. And then to turn the Mosier on, I just do a little twist here, and then it's ready to start measuring. Unfortunately, there is no defining line around the mound. For sure, the definition of a bowl barrow means that the central earthen mound was built by digging a ditch around it. But if there was such a surrounding ditch, then it has silted over time. Plus, there has been slippage of the material from the mound itself over these last 4,000 years. So I will have to make an educated guess as to where I think the edge of the mound begins. Now's the first survey has been completed. Let us take stock of what Mosier 2 can offer. I call this stage analysis. We can see here the general shape of the perimeter of the round barrow, perhaps not quite round, but more oval shaped. Still, I have utilised one of Mosier's other features called Edit Label, so that I can rename any one of its points along the survey plan. In this example, I have relabeled just one point to indicate the direction of true north. Incidentally, using the cross-section facility, I can then measure the angles and distances between any 2 points across the survey plan. We can also view a 3D image of the base of the barrow. Interestingly, we can see here that the barrow was built on slightly sloping ground, rising from the north to the south. Sometimes in archaeology, it is important to consider the level of land upon which a prehistoric monument had been built. There are many examples of land being levelled flat prior to the building of a prehistoric monument, and the Mosier device allows us to specifically investigate this aspect of construction. Here we can quantify the difference in levels of land between the northeast quarter of the barrow as opposed to the higher southwest quadrant, showing a slight rise of about 2.6 feet. Here I have used the layers facility to survey the summit of the barrow that adds new data onto the original survey of the perimeter, which I captured earlier. Mosier does a good job at measuring the length, rise and run from the barrow's perimeter to its summit. Using Mosier, I can also create 3D images of the barrow. This image, like all other images, can be rotated to enhance detailed viewing from the different angles which I can relate to the barrow's construction details. Here's a great feature of the Mosier 2. I can also use it to show the contour lines upon which the barrow stands. No more chasing contours here. So what is the verdict on the Mosier 2? Certainly there are many benefits to talk about. Perhaps we can split these benefits in 2 ways. The first is practical, and the second is archaeology. Let us consider the practical benefits first. Certainly there's no need to carry heavy, cumbersome surveying equipment with you to the site you want to survey. It is fast and accurate. Indeed, it took me no more than 30 minutes to walk around Boars Den, complete the survey, and walk all the way back to this point. There's no need for any helpers or assistants to organise, feed and pay. And you don't have to be a civil engineer to use Moja, nor require the technical knowledge of a professional surveyor. Your survey measurements are automatically drawn up for you by the Moja, and your survey plans can be immediately saved and emailed live from the actual site to whomever or wherever it needs to be sent. For a university department, Moja 2 is relatively inexpensive for what it offers. Now let us consider the benefits for archaeologists. If you are writing an essay, dissertation or thesis about a prehistoric monument, then you can produce your own original survey plans. No need to worry about infringing copyrights or asking other researchers for permission to use their plans. Your independent use of the Moja offers scope for further ideas. For example, how much earth material was used to build an earthen mound or henge bank? Using the cut and fill facility, you could estimate how much material per person was needed to build such a mound. And, as with henge earthworks, such as Avebury Henge, where there are ditches and banks, then there is a fine balance between what was extracted from the ditch to build the bank. The Moja can identify if there was a shortfall one way or the other between the two, and then this could spark interesting debate and further research about any shortfalls. You could also use Moja to investigate whether the level of land upon which a prehistoric monument was built was deliberately levelled prior to construction. And finally, you can survey large numbers of barrows in a relatively short period of time.